Liangsu, that's our marital home. How can you use it as a prize and give it to your female assistant? Enough, she's just my assistant. We're only boss and subordinate. Why are you so jealous? At the company's Labor Day raffle. My husband gave our marital home to his female assistant. It wasn't a joke. He openly gave it away in front of hundreds of employees, all because he drew the grand prize, and the prize list clearly named the multi-million-dollar home registered under my name. Before I could say anything, my husband grabbed my hand and warned me under his breath. Honey, don't make a scene. I entered the prize wrong, but the company's reputation matters more than anything. Ching-Ching's just a young girl. You're not really going to fight over one house, are you? I watched him shield that woman and suddenly smiled. Then, in front of everyone's shocked eyes, I personally handed him the key. They all thought I'd been forced to give in. Only I knew the truth. Whoever touched that house was asking for trouble. Before long, his assistant fled the house overnight, his company went bankrupt, and he begged on his knees for me to take the house back. But this time, it was my turn to quietly ask him, "Didn't you say the company's reputation mattered most? You really did it by accident?" I only asked one question, but Liangsu's face instantly darkened. I told you it was an accident. Why can't you trust me? Or do you just hate giving up the house? You're a big-time boss now. Why are you still so petty? His voice was full of impatience, with anger he could barely contain. I stared at the man in front of me and suddenly felt like I didn't know him at all. I'd loved him for 10 years and been married to him for 3, yet in that moment, he felt like a stranger. It wasn't that I didn't trust him. Ever since Shenqing joined the company, she somehow won the grand prize every Labor Day. At first, the prizes were just fruit and flowers. Then came designer bags and luxury lipstick sets. Now, the prize had become the marital home Liangsu and I shared. Of course, I knew who was behind it. I'd tolerated it for years, but this time he was giving away our home. There was no way I could agree. I took a deep breath, forced down my anger, and turned to Shenqing. Pick another prize, anything but this house, and I'll make it up to you. My mother is dying, and her greatest wish is for me to have a place of my own in this city. I'm sorry, Miss C. I only want this house. I gave a cold laugh and shot back without hesitation. Do you want a house, or do you specifically want the home Liangsu and I shared? Shenqing froze, her face turning bright red. Liangsu shoved me aside and stepped in front of her. Enough, she's just my assistant. We're only boss and subordinate. Stop being jealous. As the company VP, you're breaking the rules. As the boss, I'm ordering you to hand over the house key right now. That's our marital home. He snorted and replied dismissively. Don't forget, that house is mine too. I can give it to whoever I want. I stared at him in disbelief, my voice trembling. Completely disappointed, I threw the house key onto the floor. Fine, I don't want it anymore. Wait, Liangsu suddenly stopped me. I paused, thinking he'd finally come to his senses. Instead, he said, Heiress, you just threw the key on the floor? That's humiliating, Ching-Ching. He frowned, blaming me as if I weren't the one being wronged, but the woman hiding behind him was. Pick it up, hand it to her with both hands, bow 90 degrees and apologize. Otherwise, you're not leaving this room. Forget it. Mrs. Z is too proud for that. Just dock 6 months of her pay and make her publicly apologize at the staff meeting. Then we can let it go. I shook my head with a cold smile. As VP, my authority came from my employees' respect. Humiliating me publicly would destroy that. Who would listen to me after this? I walked over and looked down at her. Enough, you already got the house, so forget the apology. Don't get greedy. Keep that key safe. If I ever change my mind, I can take it back anytime. Shenqing gripped the key tightly. Don't worry, Mrs. C. I'll definitely take good care of this key. I sneered and walked away. Shenqing had no idea how miserable she'd be when she begged me to take the house back. By the next day, news of my fight with Liangsu had spread through the company. She was the one who suggested the Labor Day raffle. Now that the grand prize was drawn, she won't honor it. What a sore loser. It's just one house. She's the boss's wife. Why be so stingy? She's unbelievably petty. Mr. Liang has real class. He said he'd give it away, and he did. Unlike Ms. Z, she acts superior every day, but turns stingy when it matters. I stood outside listening, almost laughing. Only Liangsu could have spread those rumors. Without saying a word, I turned and headed straight to his office. When I entered, he glanced at me, pulled a document he'd prepared from his drawer, and slid it across the desk. Property transfer agreement. Sign it, and we'll forget this ever happened. I glanced down and, without hesitation, signed my name on the last page. Liangsu clearly hadn't expected me to agree so quickly. He froze, surprise flashing in his eyes. Then he pulled out another document, as if determined to squeeze every last bit of value out of me. And this. Property fees, cleaning, utilities, and other expenses total $300,000. Now that the house belongs to Shenqing, you owe her that money too. You have 3 days to pay it. He said it like it was obvious. I read the bill line by line and laughed in anger. Cleaning and utilities were one thing, but he'd even charged me a housing use fee for a home I'd barely lived in. Fine, you're done with your numbers, now it's my turn. I pulled another document from my bag and tossed it on his desk. The divorce agreement and asset division statement. Take a look. I leaned back in my chair and said calmly, under marital property law, our joint assets are split equally. After counting company shares, post-marriage earnings, and assets, you actually owe me $3 million. He stared at the number, his face shifting between pale and furious until he finally snapped. I'm just asking you to pay some money. Do you really have to threaten me with divorce? Threaten you? Langsu, you've got it wrong. I'm not divorcing you over $300,000. I'm divorcing you because I don't want this marriage anymore. His face darkened. The next second he sneered, grabbed a pen, and quickly signed the divorce papers. See, Ran, I was right about you. You're petty and selfish. Since you're so tough, you're done as VP too. Starting today, Shenqing will take your position. As soon as he finished, Shenqing walked in on high heels, barely hiding her smugness. She picked up the project files, pretended to be modest, and softly asked, Mr. Liang, are you giving me the Fangrui Group project too? I looked up and smiled. She sure was ambitious. She even wanted to swallow the Fangrui project whole. I looked at her and said each word clearly. You can't handle Fangrui's project. Why not? I smiled slightly and slowly stood up. Because Fangrui Group's chairman is a Z. The office went silent for a moment. Then Shenqing burst out laughing like she'd heard the funniest joke in the world, covering her mouth while her eyes filled with mockery. Miss Z, you've already fallen this far. Do you really need to make up ridiculous stories just to save face? Liangsu looked at me coldly too, a contemptuous smile curling at his lips. Jiran, can't you accept losing? Fangrui is huge. You know that. It's our biggest project this year, and I spent countless connections and dinners getting in the door. Now you're saying Qingqing can't have it because the chairman's a Z? By the end, he laughed out loud as if I were desperately trying to save face. What? Don't tell me you're about to say Fangrui belongs to your family. I said nothing. My silence only convinced them I was bluffing. Shenqing hugged the files, leaned closer to Liangsu, and spoke sweetly, though every word was meant to sting. Mr. Liang, don't be angry. Miss Ji just got divorced, so she's upset and saying things she doesn't mean. Going from a powerful VP to having nothing overnight would be hard for anyone. She turned to me and sighed with fake concern. Mrs. C, you really don't need to do this. Even if you don't get the Fangrui project, nobody will laugh at you. Why make up a story about the chairman being a Z and embarrass everyone? I almost laughed at her act. A woman who cried and flirted her way into someone else's position dared lecture me about dignity. Before I could answer, people were already gathering outside after hearing Liangsu had fired me as VP. Seriously? Isn't Fangrui one of the biggest companies in the city? How could that be true? If she really had that kind of background, would she be fighting with Mr. Liang like this? Someone needed to put her in her place. She always acts like she's better than everyone. Now she's lost her VP job and her marriage, and she's still acting tough. I stood there silently, expressionless. Liangsu thought I was scared, and his voice became even harsher. Shiran, I'm losing patience. Take back what you said and apologize to Qingqing. I'll let you keep some dignity. Otherwise, legal will remove you from the company and hold you responsible for damaging this project. Shenqing jumped in at the perfect moment, speaking gently while looking at me with a winner's pity. Mrs. Z, don't blame Mr. Liang. He's thinking of you. You're divorced, your reputation has suffered, and if you offend him too, finding another job will be hard. Just apologize so everyone can move on. Dignity? I looked at Liangsu, my voice completely cold. You don't get to talk to me about dignity. Liangsu's expression instantly darkened. I ignored him and turned my gaze toward Shenqing. As for you, you play helpless and live off other people's leftovers, yet you dare gloat in front of me? You wanted the house, so hold on to it tight. Don't come begging on your knees for me to take it back. I grabbed my bag and left, ignoring Liangsu yelling behind me. They'd pay soon enough. After that, Shenqing flaunted wedding photos online every day, even copying the custom wedding dress I'd once worn. What happened with the downtown Riverview apartment? Ms. Z, the price has reached its peak. Listed immediately. Give it half a day and sell to the highest bidder. She doesn't deserve to touch what belongs to someone else. That afternoon, I visited the project apartment I'd once managed. My badge, coffee mug, and even the plant from my desk had been tossed into a box. Shen-Qing saw me and smiled like she'd already won. Ms. Z, perfect timing. I already had someone pack your things so you wouldn't have to make another trip. Who gave you permission to touch the files on my desk? This desk is mine now. You're not the VP anymore, so stop acting important. As she spoke, she picked up a framed photo from the corner of the desk and laughed softly. It was a picture of me with my parents. Nice photo, but I don't think it belongs here anymore. She let go. The frame hit the floor with a crack, glass shattering everywhere. I stared at the broken photo, my expression turning colder by the second. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to. I lost my grip and accidentally dropped it. The challenge in her eyes was impossible to hide. Miss C, you're not going to make a big deal over one picture frame, are you? I slowly crouched down, picked up the photo, stood, and slapped her across the face. You hit me? That slap was to teach you what you can touch and what you can't. Shen-Qing, just because you can steal what's mine doesn't mean you deserve it. Within 3 days, I'll make sure you fall from that seat exactly how you climbed into it. Tears of rage filled her eyes. She raised her hand to hit me back, but I grabbed her wrist before she could. Stop trying to scare me. Mr. Liang runs this whole company now. Who do you think you are? Who am I? You'll find out very soon. I picked up the cracked photo and walked away. Behind me, Shen-Qing screamed furiously. Shiran, just wait! I'll make sure you can't stay at this company! I kept walking. Once outside the project department, I immediately made a call. Someone picked up right away. Miss. I stared out the window, my voice almost emotionless. Notify Fengrui, put the project on hold, and tell my father it's time to close the net. I left the building. The afternoon sun was blinding, but I felt nothing but cold. Shen-Qing smashing that frame still replayed in my mind. It was my only photo with my parents. I clenched my hand and called home. Miss, notify the legal department. Freeze every Liang company account tied to Z Group. Stop all supply chain funding. Fengrui is to blacklist Liang Media permanently. Also gather the deed, mortgage records, and renovation receipts for my Riverview apartment. The butler didn't ask any questions. He simply replied, Understood, miss. It'll be done within 30 minutes. I hung up and got into the car. The driver headed for Z Group headquarters. I wasn't going home to hide from my pain. I was going back to finish this myself. 10 years of love and 3 years of marriage. I gave Liang Su my parents' startup money, helped him land his first client and major deal, and secretly used Z Group resources to save his company when it nearly collapsed. I thought I'd helped shape a diamond. Instead, I'd raised an ungrateful wolf. As my car entered Z Group's garage, my father called, barely containing his anger. Ranran, did Liang Su mistreat you? My heart warmed, but I kept my voice calm. Dad, it's nothing! I can handle it myself. Nothing? My father's voice shot up. He gave your home to his assistant, fired you as VP, and humiliated you publicly. You call that nothing? My daughter doesn't exist for him to walk all over. I went silent for a moment, then slowly said, I want him to lose everything. Not just because he betrayed me. He crossed my line, mistreated employees who built the company with him, and used my family's resources to support a woman with an agenda. My father was silent for a few seconds, then softened his voice. Do you need me to step in? No. I gently shook my head. I'll do it myself. On the wedding day, Liang Su dressed up and drove a limited edition supercar to my former home. He ran several red lights and sped the whole way, every detail showing how excited he was. I simply pressed a switch. He tried the door handle, fingerprint scanner, then the code. Nothing worked. Hundreds of eyes watched as sweat formed on his back. No matter how many times he tried, the door stayed locked. He kicked the door hard, pulled out his phone, and shouted, Get a locksmith here right now! Hurry! The matchmaker frowned and muttered, I've never seen a bride locked inside on her wedding day. Maybe this marriage isn't meant to happen. Even heaven seems against it. Liang Su's superstitious parents immediately looked uneasy. I told you to live peacefully with Ranran, but no, you had to dump her and marry this homewrecker. Liang Su didn't dare argue with his parents. He swallowed his anger and waited for the locksmith. Eventually, the door finally opened. But the lucky wedding hour had already passed, and Shen-Qing burst into tears. Su, we missed the lucky time. Liang Su wiped away her tears and patiently comforted her. Stop crying or you'll ruin your makeup. Who cares about some lucky hour? Your happiness matters more. Shen-Qing cheered up and prepared to leave. I watched coldly and pressed another switch. The fire alarm went off, sprinklers activated, and water poured over them, instantly turning the glamorous couple into a soaked mess. Liang Su finally lost it and roared. Who did this? Is this ever going to stop? Get out here right now! Shen-Qing also burst into loud sobs. Liang Su's gentle attitude vanished. He snapped impatiently. Cry, cry, cry! That's all you ever do. You're driving me crazy. Shut up already. Shenting immediately fell silent in fear. Seeing this, Liang Su's parents quickly stepped in. Enough! Go change your clothes. Don't keep the guests waiting. Liang Su had no choice but to change. The backup outfit looked far worse, and the excitement was gone. Now they were simply pushing through a wedding they couldn't cancel, but the real show hadn't even started. The guests were already restless. When Liang Su arrived with a drenched Shenqing, the hall went strangely silent. Everyone stared, and those judging looks hit him like needles. The embarrassed MC began. The wedding ceremony will now begin. The wedding march played as sweet photos appeared on the big screen. Suddenly, they changed to Shenqing's flirty chats, money transfers, and recordings of her mocking Liang Su for being old and cheap. He really thinks I love him. I only want his pathetic assets. Once they're mine, I'll dump him. His ex-wife Z Ran is an idiot. She got sold out and still helped count the money. The recording echoed through the hall. Guests pointed and whispered. Shenqing went ghost white and tried to shut off the screen, but Liang Su shoved her aside and glared at her. Was everything you said true? Shenqing panicked. Su! No, someone framed me. It was Z Ran. It had to be her. Liang Su was about to explode when I pressed another switch. The wedding music cut out, replaced by a recording from our own marriage, when he'd knelt before me crying and promising never to betray me. Ran, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Give me one more chance. I'll only love you for the rest of my life. Then the screen showed photos and videos of him cheating with Shenqing, followed by him coldly telling me, let's get divorced. The contrast was brutally ironic. Liang Su's parents were so furious their blood pressure spiked. They pointed at him and screamed, You disgraceful son, you've humiliated our entire family. Relatives shook their heads and guests began leaving, abandoning untouched tables of food. Seeing everything collapse, Shenqing dropped the helpless act and showed her true face. Liang Su, your family is a nightmare. I'm not marrying you. The bride price, jewelry, and car are all mine. Liang Su finally broke down completely. He slammed his fist onto the table, then screamed, This is all your fault! Siren, you ruined everything! He frantically searched for me. I stood at the far end of the hall, calmly watching the disaster. When our eyes met, I slowly raised my hands and gave him a soft round of applause. The applause wasn't loud, but every clap hit him like a slap. My voice carried clearly through the hall. Liang Su, this is just a little interest on what you owe me. You betrayed your wife and forgot everyone who helped you. You thought another woman would make you happy. You don't deserve happiness. With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. Behind me came Liang Su's desperate roar. Their glamorous wedding had turned them into the city's biggest joke. Liang Su clenched his fists and shouted at me. You went through all this just to stop our wedding, didn't you? Well, I'm not giving you what you want. We're getting married anyway. He grabbed Shenqing and tried to continue the ceremony. The MC quickly resumed, but just as the wedding march started again, a cold, commanding voice came from the entrance. Anyone who helps this cheating couple can get out of this hotel right now. The hall fell completely silent. Everyone stopped and turned toward the entrance. When I saw who it was, my eyes immediately grew warm. I hurried over. Dad, you're here. My father looked at me with both heartbreak and frustration. If I hadn't come, my precious daughter would have been bullied to death. Then he turned toward Liang Su, his gaze ice cold. Liang Su, you've got nerve. You cheated during your marriage, then came to my family's hotel to marry your mistress? Do you think the Z family is dead? Get out. At his order, several bodyguards immediately grabbed Liang Su by the arms and started dragging him away. Wait, I stopped them. You want to hold your wedding here? Fine. But the venue fee is now 1 million an hour. Surely wealthy Mr. Liang can afford that. Z hotels are everywhere, so switching hotels won't help unless he leaves the country. Liang Su's face shifted between pale and furious before he finally agreed through clenched teeth. I'll pay. But as he pulled out his phone, a bank alert popped up. His balance had dropped by $300,000. The note read, mortgage paid off. Liang Su looked up and glared at me. Shiren, what did you do? I smiled calmly. Nothing much. I just sold our old house and paid off the mortgage you were responsible for. Don't forget, I was the one paying that mortgage all these years. Liang Su's chest heaved with rage, but he forced himself to stay calm. Fine. It's only $300,000. I'll let this one go. But if you do it again... Before he could finish, his phone started ringing non-stop. It was his secretary, whose voice was panicked. Mr. Liang, we're in trouble. Every partner has canceled their contract. Not one is left. The company can't survive. We're going bankrupt. Liang Su's face changed instantly. He finally panicked, but still tried to sound calm as he shouted into the phone. Transfer 30 million from my account to the factory now. The production line cannot stop. Another alert arrived. 30 million had been transferred from his account to me. The note read, "Divorce Property Settlement." Liang Su finally understood, but instead of yelling, he lowered his voice and begged, "Ran, please give me the 30 million back, I'm begging you." I looked down at him and replied casually, "Sure. As long as you kneel and beg me." Liang Su's face froze. Pride mattered more to him than anything, and kneeling publicly was unbearable. But fear of bankruptcy shattered his ego. In front of every guest, his knees buckled and he knelt before me. "Is this enough?" I looked down at him, then calmly asked, "Do you know why every partner canceled?" Liang Su looked up sharply, stunned. "You did this! You never planned to let me go from the start! See, Ran, you're a liar!" I laughed softly, my eyes cold. "When you betrayed me, why didn't you call yourself a liar? Don't think I didn't know. You'd already started cheating right after we got married." Liang Su went pale, his voice turning desperate. Ran, I was wrong. Let's get back together. I swear I'll never do it again." I looked at him and said coldly, "You don't deserve me." With every shred of dignity stripped away, Liang Su completely snapped and screamed at me. "You psycho! You couldn't have me, so you decided to destroy me. You're obsessed because I stopped loving you." I couldn't help laughing sarcastically. "Obsessed with you? Liang Su, you think far too highly of yourself. You spent my money, cheated behind my back, and humiliated me on my own turf. This isn't hatred. I'm taking out the trash." My father stepped in front of me protectively. He said coldly, "Throw them both out. They're permanently banned from every Z family business." Liang Su still tried to beg me, sobbing on his knees. "Ran, I'll give the house back. Please let me go." The bodyguards dragged the limp Liang Su and trembling Shenqing out like garbage. The farce was finally over. After that, Liang Su's company collapsed and he was buried in debt. Shenqing took what little money he had left and fled overseas, disappearing without a trace. I stopped caring about them and focused on my career. Then someone unexpected appeared, an old co-worker. The moment she saw me, she dropped to her knees. "Ms. Ji, when Shenqing ran off with the company's money, that was everyone's unpaid salary. My father's in the hospital and I desperately need money. I had nowhere else to turn." My heart tightened. I had family backing me so I could fight back. Ordinary employees Shenqing hurt didn't have that. I helped her up and handed her some money. "Take this for now. I promise I'll recover every dollar you're owed." Years ago, Shenqing had fled overseas with 30 million and vanished. I hired a private investigator, and we finally found her through foreign social media. She'd become a popular influencer, sharing stories about her many relationships and how she got people to willingly spend money on her. Her content attracted followers hoping to climb the social ladder through romance. People begged for her secrets, so she started selling dating courses, teaching women how to flatter people and get them to spend money. The trashy courses made her rich, and she even launched expensive in-person classes, giving me the perfect opening. I immediately bought a spot in the class and waited for her to take the bait. I invented a story about being a desperate housewife whose husband had been stolen by another woman and who wanted him back at any cost. She believed me completely and confidently promised, "Give me 3 moves and I'll teach you how to control any man." With no suspicion at all, she walked straight into my private villa, but instead of a student, the police were waiting. They pinned her down as I looked down at her. "Hand over the 30 million you stole." She looked up and pretended to be innocent. "What stolen money? I have no idea what you're talking about." Then she saw me and screamed in shock, "You! After all these years, you still won't let this go? I didn't steal your money. Why are you after me? You should be thanking me. That money helped get Liang Su another 10 years in prison, didn't it?" I stared at her coldly. "Did you ever think about how many families were destroyed because you ran off with that money?" She turned away arrogantly. "I don't care. I'm not living a poor life." Anger surged through me and I slapped her hard. "That's not your choice. Your money may be overseas, but I have plenty of ways to make you give it back." Fear and hatred mixed in Shenqing's eyes. "You hit me? I have fans and connections overseas. Touch me again and I'll ruin your reputation." I gave a cold snort. "Your fans? Once they learn you're a scammer who fled with stolen money and got rich teaching people how to manipulate men, do you really think they'll still support you? Everyone has a weakness. Let me guess what yours is." Chapter 9. "You went overseas because you were pregnant, didn't you?" Shenqing stared at me dismissively. "Who told you that?" "That bastard's kid, I would never keep it." I calmly held up the file. She'd been careful, but after investigating her overseas accounts, I'd still found clues. Panic finally appeared in her eyes. "Impossible! The money is in foreign accounts. I used several fake identities. There's no way you could trace it." "Couldn't trace it?" I laughed. I had my assistant hand me a tablet. On the screen was the private postpartum center where she'd hidden her child. Even the nursery window was clearly visible. You thought changing countries 3 times, hiding in a private hospital, and registering under a fake identity meant nobody would know you gave birth? Shenqing's face went completely pale. Don't touch him, he's innocent. I looked down at her. When you used stolen money to raise him, did you think about all the innocent people you hurt? Now you're scared? She bit her lip. Then reluctantly said, I'll return the money. Promise you won't involve my child. I replied calmly, if you voluntarily return the money and disclose every account, your cooperation may be considered. The police will handle everything according to the law. An officer stepped forward and handed her the plea and cooperation notice. Shenqing, you're suspected of embezzling stolen funds. Returning the money voluntarily is your only way forward. Shenqing stared at the document and finally collapsed to the floor. I'll confess, I'll tell you everything. Every account and password. Over the next week, Shenqing's overseas accounts were frozen one by one. The 30 million she stole, plus nearly 10 million from her courses, was recovered and used to repay companies and compensate former employees. I even gave extra medical money to the coworker whose father was sick. When I handed her $100,000 and a VIP hospital card, she tried to kneel again, but I quickly stopped her. You earned this, not just you. Everyone Shenqing hurt deserves to get back what belongs to them. All the victims were properly compensated. Because Shenqing returned the money and cooperated, and despite the large amount involved, she ultimately received a 7-year prison sentence. Her so-called dating courses were removed from every platform, and her fans vanished, leaving only condemnation behind. She went to prison, while the scandal boosted my reputation and Z Group's stock. The whole mess finally ended. But what I won was never fame or money. I wanted wrongdoers held accountable and decent people treated fairly. From then on, I'd keep moving forward, protecting that light and the people who needed someone on their side. The dust settled. Shenqing was in prison, Liang Su was buried in debt and disgrace, and every employee they'd wronged received compensation. I thought years of betrayal and revenge were finally over, but my new life had only begun. After handling everything, I focused completely on Z Group. My father handed me the core media, tourism, and investment businesses. I was no longer Mrs. Liang hiding behind her husband. I stood openly as Z Group's sole heir. On my first day at headquarters, the entire senior management team came to welcome me. A red carpet was laid out, and my father took my hand before publicly announcing to the entire company. Starting today, Z-Ran has full authority over every Z Group business. The entire Z family supports her. No objections. Applause thundered. Business leaders who'd only heard my name came forward with their cards, speaking respectfully. Ms. Z, you're impressive for your age. I hope we can work together in the future. I handled them calmly and confidently. That's when I truly understood. A woman's greatest strength isn't marriage or a man. It's her own ability, the family that never betrays her, and the foundation beneath her feet. Back in my bright, spacious office, I placed the repaired photo of my parents in the center of my desk. Sunlight poured through the windows, soft as if they'd never left. The last shadow in my heart finally disappeared. 10 years of love and 3 years of marriage. I gave everything and got betrayal in return. But it didn't destroy me. It woke me up and helped me finally become myself. A week later, while reviewing financial reports and projects, I found a risk alert. After bankruptcy, Liang Su had quietly started a shell media company with money from old drinking buddies, claiming he was making a comeback and spreading rumors about me. He said I was ruthless and ungrateful, and that I'd destroyed my own husband just to seize power. Worse, he contacted Shenqing's distant relatives, hoping to find any assets she'd hidden and use them to make a comeback. My assistant stood beside me, furious. Ms. Ji, Liang Su really doesn't know when to quit. You already made sure he'd never recover. I tapped my fingers lightly on the desk, calm and completely indifferent. No rush. A fly can't buzz around forever. If he wants to play, I'll play to the end. I knew Liang Su too well. He dreamed big, but lacked real ability. Without my resources or Z Group backing him, his so-called comeback was suicide. Everything he was doing now was just a desperate struggle. I didn't crush him immediately. Instead, I had every rumor, scam, and dirty move documented. I'd wait until he felt closest to victory, then strike once and destroy his last hope of ever coming back. Meanwhile, I aggressively restructured the group, cut failing projects, recruited top talent, and expanded overseas. In just 3 months, Z Group's market value rose 30%, and I firmly established myself in the business world. There was no shortage of impressive men pursuing me, wealthy heirs, young executives, powerful business partners. They were generous and attentive, all far better than Liang Su. I politely turned every one of them down. After one devastating betrayal, I no longer believed in fairy tale romance. I preferred my career, freedom, family, and the power to rely on myself. Love was an extra, not a necessity. I could give myself everything I needed. One day, while I was leading an international video conference, my secretary hurried in and whispered in my ear, "Ms. Z, someone's causing a scene downstairs. He says he's your ex-husband, Liang Su." I frowned, irritated. The meeting was at a crucial point, and I had no interest in letting that piece of trash interrupt me. I said calmly, "Have security remove him. Don't let him dirty Z Group's entrance." My secretary looked uncomfortable. He brought reporters and some blurry photos. "He's claiming you drove your husband to ruin and stole the family assets. A crowd has already gathered outside." I sneered. Liang Su still hadn't learned. Even now, he wanted to use public opinion against me. I paused the meeting and went downstairs. He looked like a beggar and lunged for my legs, but security stopped him.